Bitcoin is now officially back above 100k. It's back in the six-figure territory, a key psychological level that will attract huge attention. For us, it might just be symbolic that Bitcoin is reaching 100k right here, but actually it's trying to break through major resistance levels, a massive sell wall sitting right here above 100k, and if it manages to break through, we could easily see a push for 110k. Actually, it's a wild 5% swing that liquidated over $96 million in short positions. This is what it means for Bitcoin. Short sellers just became exit liquidity, and this is the kind of wipeout that shows bulls are firmly back in charge. Also, spot Bitcoin ETFs just saw over $450 million in inflow this week. What this means, after a slow April, institutional demand is back. And this is what it means for Bitcoin. ETFs are acting as a steady stream of buy pressure, keeping the floor high and fueling the breakout. We also have Donald Trump hinted at a major new UK-US trade deal, and the announcement has put global markets in a risk-on mode. What this basically means is a softer dollar and more optimism means macro conditions now favor Bitcoin. Big money sees BTC as a bet on global growth. We also have a pretty interesting statistics here. On-chain metrics show unrealized losses at a 3-month low. Basically, hodlers are back in the green and no one's panic selling anymore. The overall input this has on Bitcoin is that conviction is strong. Long-term holders are holding, not dumping. This rally basically has a solid foundation and we hope it goes for 110k. Also good to note here is that the fear and greed index is at 65, basically in the greed territory. It flipped rather fast and the sentiment is bullish but not overheated. And honestly, I think this is good for the pump because it means that there will be a little less volatility compared to if the greed was closer to, let's say, 80 or 90 on the fear and greed index. It also means for the fear and greed index that there is room to grow. We're not at peak euphoria yet, and that is a good sign for continuation. Also, perpetual future funding rates are positive again. Basically, traders are paying to stay long, expecting more upside. What this means for Bitcoin is that momentum is in the bull's favor. As long as funding doesn't overheat, this could be just the beginning. We also have altcoins waking up. SDX, for example, is up over 10% overnight. We could call it that Bitcoin beta plays are starting to pump, early Ethereum versions or similar are all starting to gain a little bit momentum. What this means for the entire market is that altcoin season could be following right behind, and BTC strength is the key trigger. If we combine all of this, we can also see that the Fed held interest rates steady this entire week. No surprises, and the dollar slipped on the news. Lower rate expectations weaken the dollar and push capital into assets like Bitcoin. It's basically a perfect setup for Bitcoin. We have some good analysts that see 3 outcomes in play. A breakout to 110k, if ETF inflows stay strong and macro wins stay supportive. We can see some shop around the 97 to 100k area if the market cools off before the next move up. Basically, if it bonks its head against the sell wall. And the worst case is we see a pullback to 90k if traders take profit or if funding overheats. And this is what it means for Bitcoin. We need to stay awake here. The next 48 hours will likely decide whether this is a clean breakout or another shakeout. If we look at the 4-hour time frame here on the graph, we can clearly see that we had a good chance to enter this trade here way before it actually happened, and it's breaking through the support and resistance level here at 100k. Looking at the daily time frame, it actually looks even more impressive because it flipped into an uptrend way before this, actually way before the other support and resistance level at around the 88k level. This is actually massive because if Bitcoin manages to stay above the 100k level, this means that for everyone who manages to enter this long position right here when it flipped into green, you would be 2 support and resistance levels up from actually being liquidated or going back to where you actually bought. This puts you in a massively safe trade where you can just move your stop loss up accordingly and ride for bigger and bigger gains and cash out more and more. This is the perfect scenario playing out right now. And the key thing to take home from all of this here is that if we're longing or shorting the market, right now it looks more safe to be longing the market until the 4-hour time frame flips around. Then the perfect opportunity to short the market comes ahead. We don't want to be fighting the global trend of the market when we're trading, so this is why updates like these are so important, so that we align our trades, even if they trade within a shorter time span. If they align with the daily or the 4-hour time frame, or basically the global crypto trend, the chance of success greatly increases. It's nice to finally be back in business. We have the $1,500 challenge right here, sitting at 5.2, almost 5.3k USD. We're gonna keep on trading this week, and hopefully we can reach 10k within a couple of months. It doesn't sound like a lot, but doubling your money like this is a really big deal, because 5k becomes 10k, becomes 20k, closing in on 100k, and then heading for 1 million. It's really important that we just focus on the percentages and not the actual USDT numbers. I hope you all make massive gains in the market, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.